What's up guys, hope you're doing great. This is your boy Kjvsl, and in today's video I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I did a survey on Instagram asking people about what they make of the Ghanaian movie industry. Why is it failing and why is it not being addressed as much as it's supposed to be addressed? You get what I mean? Because I'm sentimental about it now. In fact, I have been for a very long time because of me being a filmmaker, shooting music videos and all that. Ghanaians cherish videos, short skits and all that. However, I don't see the energy towards film making itself, in depth, how it's supposed to be made, as much as music gets all the attention. So I did a quick survey because I was very interested in knowing the opinions of others, if perhaps Ghanaians might have forgotten all about it, that it used to be a thing where movies were actually given a lot of revenue or given a lot of returns to the filmmakers who made them. So I put this out there on my Instagram and I got a lot of responses. I was blown away because naturally I wouldn't get such engagement from posting just text. But when I posted this, in fact, I have that question over here. I asked, can you explain why our film industry is not as strong as it's supposed to be? I put this out there and a ton of answers came through. So today I'm going to go through the opinions from my followers and yeah, I'm going to keep them anonymous because maybe someone may not want their names put out there that they said that. So because I didn't tell them that I was going to bring it up here on my YouTube channel, I don't want to breach anything that is unforeseen. So I'm going to keep the identities of my followers anonymous. And yeah, let's get right into the video and read these comments and the reservations that people have about our film industry, particularly Ghanaians. So the first one goes like, you guys, they charge me too much, Charlie. Headache. This guy is actually a musician. I know him very, very well. We've been talking about some music videos that we are supposed to be doing, but because of some schedules and all that, we haven't been able to put our heads together to be able to accomplish them. But he brought this in and he's saying that we charge them too much. I'm pretty sure that he means we, the directors, the filmmakers in general. We charge too much because I wouldn't say too much. We charge what we are worth and what we believe will be enough to make the films and to make the music videos that you guys want to put out there, because music itself, it's enough to listen to, but if you add visuals to the music, it gives a lot of meaning and you can even feel much more attached and will remember the song even better when you have visuals playing in your head because the music had visuals afterwards. So we charge because a lot of props, a lot of things go into it, the thought process, the creativity, the directing, the shooting, the editing, a ton of work goes into it, and that's the reason why I'll tell you that we need to charge as much as we charge. Yes. All right, so the next says, because people know they like help each other. All right, so basically what this person says is we don't like to help each other. So this is basically a general reservation because people are kind of selfish with what they have. All right, personally I put things out there in tutorials trying to help people who are interested in perhaps what I'm doing. So anytime I have, let's say, a project to do, I try my best to get a lot of people, as many as I can, on board so that we can help them. So I think there's something that generally filmmakers who are opportune or much fortunate in terms of knowledge and, let's say, even equipment, if you have the chance to get someone to approach you to help them, be free, fully prepared to to assist such a person, because you have no idea what that person might be bringing on board. That's definitely maybe gonna help you someday in the future. So we should look at the brighter side and not think that we are always going to be imparting knowledge and not getting anything back. But let's look at it this way. Generally, when I teach people, I felt that this is very personal. When I teach people, I get to understand what I teach them even better, and they raise questions that make me even research more into what I'm doing. So basically we have to just be open-minded as filmmakers to help the industry, to help the people who confront us. All right, so the next goes like this. This particular issue has been a thorn in my flesh personally. And I can't really express myself here because I have been observing this issue for quite a long time, and I have made so many observations. One main factor is time. Yes, time for real is a factor that really degrades the progress of our film industry, because if I would call actors to be on set, even personally my projects, if I call actors to be on set, they are not as prompt as I would want them to be. I am also a culprit actually about, regarding being time conscious, because sometimes unforeseen circumstances may distract you or may come your way to slow down the pace that you're supposed to go with to be able to start something, let alone to finish it. So time is something that as individuals we have to make sure that we harbor that and be very conscious about it, so that we can progress in what we do. Because if time is not really given that much of a concentration to, it is going to really depreciate the progress and even the revival of our film industry as we have it. Okay, so the next one goes like this. Lack of proper systems. Clients like pre-producing. Okay, so this is actually a 2-in-1 reservation. In fact, 4 of them. Okay, so one goes like this: lack of proper systems. Yeah, we lack proper systems. I think that's the adjective, proper. Yes, of course, we definitely have channels through which we dissipate our films, we broadcast what we have. YouTube is there, you know. But if there was actually a system that would really register films and patent films, so that the returns that come from it will be substantial enough and will be documented. I mean, any proper system that would help will revive the industry in terms of people getting back on board, because now systems are in the actual way, legal systems are put in place to protect and preserve someone's or a creator's intellectual property. So all these things are very important that we put in place to be able to assist ourselves as Ghanaians to revive our film industry. The second thing goes like this: clients like reproducing concepts and creatives won't do new stuff. Yes. So clients like reproducing concepts and creatives won't do new stuff. So this is very true, because when clients confront us, personally as a filmmaker, when a client confronts me, they basically have something that they refer to come to you, to send to you, and sometimes even meet you up physically, talk to you about a project and give you something to look at. That I want something like this. So like you are locked in a cage as a creative, because most often than not, creatives love to do things on their own and feel free to bring things out by themselves, of themselves. And if we are blocked, or we are met with this roadblock to block our creativity and not to have a free will to do what we think is right, clients actually become a huge problem, and it really depreciates our progress as an industry, because producers can be clients to filmmakers. And for instance, if I'm given a project to do and I'm given references that I'm supposed to go strictly by, even sometimes the color schemes and all that, sometimes the mood of the film can alert me to do something different from the reference material, but because the reference material is what the client has presented and that's what the client wants, it makes working so difficult and it blocks the creativity aspect of things. And I think that's something that we have to also look at if we want to see our film industry grow. The third thing is laziness. Yes, I think laziness, it transcends beyond just the filmmakers, actors and producers. In fact, the legal system that's supposed to put things in order for creatives to work, having a sound mind and clear conscience. When I start with the actors here in Ghana, I've observed that even, let's bring it as low as to the people that I work with, for instance, you notice a very huge difference if you would watch films, let's say on Netflix, and you see the kind of productivity and the performance that we over here in Ghana, we put up. If you compare it, it is very, very wide. And why should that even happen? Because if we watch films abroad and we enjoy them and we have the chance or the opportunity to stand in front of camera to reproduce or to recreate human behavior, that's what acting is all about, why aren't we going to be at par over there. And that's because we have, through my observations, I've noticed that we feel too lazy to learn on our own, to research, to find videos to learn from. YouTube is there, it's tagged up with a lot of content that we can learn from. So if we have such platforms, such blogs, such articles that we can read to learn and improve on our creative department, if we neglect all that, there's no way that we are going to grow, and that's something that we actually have to look at. All right, and the next thing goes like this: relying on people to see the change that you're expecting. Yes, basically that's true, because instead of standing in to do it, you rather look at people and rely on other people to see them do it, so you follow suit. That's something general about Ghanaians. I've noticed this because I always do my best to put out my work there to get people to notice it, but I can call people to come on board to assist me on something. Let's say something I'm starting anew, and the kind of urgency and the kind of devotion that they show isn't as much as if they see a green light or they see a much more guarantee that shows that there's going to be progress or there's going to be a blow up of whatever project that it is I'm doing. They'll rather jump on board when things are kind of clear, but from the initial stages, people just don't. That's something personal actually. It's people don't want to support. So that's something that I think we should actually also look at. If you're a filmmaker and you get confronted by any other filmmaker, or let's say an actor, pay much attention to such persons and listen to them. They are definitely gonna be, you know, willing to help you out, or in one way or the other bring something on board that if you should look into, you might be able to create a masterpiece out of that with them. And don't rather sit there and wait for the person to start and then you jump on board when you see that things are getting better. No, we always have to put a stop to whatever it is that we think is wrong and try to see, create the opportunities for ourselves, and definitely we are going to see light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. All right, so the next one goes like this: lack of knowledge, poor content, poor marketing strategy, and local mindset. Okay, so the lack of knowledge can be general. We don't research as much. We Ghanaians fail to actually go by the book, because filmmaking has principles. Fine, you can attach some creativity to it and try and go against the flow, but you can never ever do that without a camera, basically. So if you have a camera comes with a lot of complexities. If you're able to nail that and understand how to use it, how to operate it, you can then move on to understanding camera movement, how to tell a story with the camera, because even in some films you don't even have to hear a thing. You can just watch the visuals and understand the storytelling of the film. And that's because the camera was used in the right way, and someone who understands how to use a camera used it. And so that's where it starts from. So if you're a creative, if you're a filmmaker, learn how to use the camera, how to tell a story with the camera, and it is going to go a long way to, you know, improving you, and in turn improving the state of our industry here in Ghana. So this is actually to we Ghanaians. This video is basically about how Ghanaians react and how Ghanaians attend to our filmmaking industry, which is drastically failing, trust me. All right, so the next thing is a poor content. Poor content might be relative, I would say, because something that you deem poor may not be poor to someone else. So if you say poor is subjective. I would rather say that we are already doing things. We see on YouTube, filmmakers on YouTube, a lot of them on YouTube, because that's actually where they can put their content and expect revenue, at least. But if the content is not that good in terms of, let's say, the cinematography aspect of it and all that, our goal, or my goal personally, is that anytime I film something, I'm looking at something that will be at par to something that you'd want to put on Netflix, or something you see on Netflix. And that's very important to me. And if we should all have that same mindset, using that as a standard, I'm sure that we are going to pay more attention to the Western films when you're watching them, and not just watch them because we are following and enjoying the storyline. Okay, so poor content can be relative, but it's a strong point. And poor marketing strategy, of course, how we market how we monetize, of course, yeah, how we monetize our films should also be researched into. Platforms, if there are no good systems to help us push our content, push our films out there, let's research. It's good that we always research, because there's a lot of ways, a lot of methods out there that if we don't tap in, we are never going to be able to find the right way. We are always going to have a lot of obstacles along the way, and maybe even end up not finding the right method to get to the point where we want to get to. So we need to look at a lot of things with regards to the marketing strategy. And, and the next thing is local mindset. Local mindset, I think this person is talking about the fact that we use primitive methods towards our execution of our films. When we watch films, we can steal, or we can, I wouldn't say steal. Steal sounds like a very bad word. We can adapt a system, we can adapt a style, a story. Even, in fact, films are always stories. And when we are telling the stories, we can use settings elsewhere and all that, and try and incorporate our tradition to it, and can create something unique out of it, a hybrid concept that will stand on its own and become something new outside the box and outside or against the flow, like what we normally see on YouTube nowadays that Ghanaians produce. All right, so too much backbiting and unnecessary beefs. Yeah, of course, you always hear this person having a squabble with that person, and it goes on and on, and instead of we trying to come together and produce films. In fact, if you pick up a broomstick and you break it, it's so easy to just break it apart. But if you have all the bundle together, no matter how much effort you put in with your bare hands, there's no way that you can break them apart. And that's because togetherness always means strength. And if we are going to be fighting over who is better than the other, instead of joining hands and becoming stronger, there's no way you're going to see progress in our filmmaking industry or in our movie industry as a whole. Yes, and that's very, very important. Mediocrity and cliche contents, another is general attitude. Yes, mediocrity is very important. I mean, it's a very important fact that we have to look at, because it looks like Ghanaians are always drawn towards shooting films for YouTube. I'm not saying YouTube is not a good platform to post your films. You can do all that, but having the mindset that I want views, I want people to patronize, and not devote time into creating the films and making them as quality as something worth looking at. Because there's a difference between a film and a skit. Skits can be shot even with a phone, just moving around, just one take even with a phone. But if you are looking at a film, a movie, a well shot film like you would see on Netflix, I think that mindset still resounds. As long as you are going to look at it in that way, that big picture that I want to have my film over there on Netflix, you are definitely going to have your mind fixed on the principles and the criteria that they've set for you to follow. So if it's color grading, if it's the storytelling, if it's the cinematography, the lighting, all these aspects that come together to form a good film will be very much paid attention to. So mediocrity is something that we have to kick away. Cliche content, of course, the same thing goes on and on. It's like the film, once you look at the title, you can tell the end from the beginning, and that's not always a good thing, actually. All right, so another is general attitude. That is true. The general attitude that we put together concerning our films, and having, I mean, the actors, the producer, the director, all the departments that come together to form a film production company. If our general attitude is not positive, if there are squabbles, if there's no togetherness in there, the unity is kind of depreciating and all, there's no way that we're going to see progress, of course. So we need to have a very good, positive general attitude across all different departments. Okay, so the next is dreadful and unoriginal storylines. Dreadful, that's a really strong word, but I'm gonna move over to unoriginal storylines. Of course, yeah, I mean, our films are kind of tapped you can clearly see a film and know that this film looks so similar to another one that you probably might have watched in the past, and that's because we fail to add our own ideas, put our spin to it, and make it different and make it unique and make it new. Instead, we are going to tap the exact story and reproduce it, even sometimes the same gender of the cast, which isn't something good. I mean, our film industry is failing because of a whole lot of things, and this is definitely not an exclusion. Yes, so we need to be very original with our storylines as much as possible. Let's try and create content with our own imagination. We can adapt, we can employ different concepts from films, already existing films, but it's best that we try and make them unique and original. Okay, the next is that not local, but will comment my opinion. Meaning this person is a foreigner. I think they are trying to shoot as less as possible, but use as much footage as possible. Even bad actor can be good at one take out of 100, but they will shoot 2 takes and combine them both in post-production. Really? And you'll get very long episodes, yes, which have no dramatic value. Shoot more, use only the best and as less as possible. But usually gear is great in modern African movies which are going on the big screen or online cinemas, and that's very, very true, because people regard films that are produced in Ghana, mostly those ones, I wouldn't even call them as films, but the skits that you find ending up on YouTube by Ghanaians, they can call it a short skit, but you end up previewing a whole 20-minute film that has no value, that makes no sense. And sometimes even if they make sense, they are so dragged that there are so many unnecessary shots that are put together. Just like the person just said, you know, they can shoot 2 takes and combine them both, prolonging the whole shot, which doesn't make sense. You notice that there's a hard cut. All these things are principles that we have to actually pay attention to, because filmmaking, there's a lot more than just picking up your camera and filming. So that's very, very true. So yeah, the next person says, my opinion to this particular question is most of the producers and directors have little to no knowledge on the scripts writing, and secondly, they rush to bring out the next production, so it makes their work lame and boring to watch. And when that happens, it doesn't get the push and support it needs. And it's very, very, very true. I actually agree with this person, because filmmakers here in Ghana are always in a rush to produce the next film. When I mean I have also noticed this, that everyone wants to shoot a film and make it a series. But if you want to shoot a series and you want to make it a very good film, even just a feature film, not even a feature film, a short film, if you're filming a short film and you really want to make it cinematic enough, look at how much time and effort and resources that go into it, let alone shooting a feature film that is over 18 minutes long. And these people actually, I would say, Ghanaian producers want to shoot series, and these series are so mediocre that all these mistakes that are seen in the skits are put also over here in the films, the long films, the prolonged feature films that are supposed to be well shot and well taken care of and well executed, but they end up finishing that mediocre film and they go on to the next one in just a couple of months. They can shoot a whole series within a week or even a month. And how does that work? How does that work? Because fine, your actors may be very good and creative, but looking at the time that you have to devote to the editing, the color grading and all that, this may be actually subjective, but I mean, generally as a filmmaker, in my experience, I've noticed that a lot of things go into that. I don't even believe that we have a production house that has devoted colorists, devoted sound engineers, devoted editors, let's say in general, whose responsibilities are solely to take the footages that are shot from set, sit down and edit them. But they go on to shoot the next film, creating mediocre stuff and all that, and that's what they do. They just don't devote their time and properly execute a film, and that's why we can never be at par with the films that we find on Netflix or other Western films. So you just have to really look at that, of course. Yes, the next one is that I think it has to do with funding, investment, funding or investment, also proper structure to monitor how distributions are earning in the local and global market. Yes. Lastly, lack of proper planning from script to post. Yes, it's true. So you notice that I've spoken about this before, that there's not a proper, or there's no proper structure to monitor how distributions are done, and even the earnings of these films, or the revenue that these films that we produce as Ghanaians generate. There's no proper structure that monitors that to even advise producers or help producers re-strategize their plans and make their next big budget or next film better than before, and how much they earn from it, how they can expand or even increase the worth of how much they make from the next film. So these are things that we have to look at as Ghanaians. I mean, I don't know the kind of body that's supposed to supervise this. If there is supposed to be a body that should supervise this should be something that we have to actually look at as Ghanaians, because our film industry is really failing because of a whole lot of things that we haven't paid attention to. But I think that what we rather focus on so much is music. In fact, it looks like in the entertainment industry here in Ghana, music is what is thriving, when films should also be thriving as well. I mean, it should be hand in hand as much as possible, because there are a lot of untapped possibilities, as well as untapped talents, that I'm pretty sure that we are going to have to focus on and see how much we can get a lot of people on board to help support the growth and the revival of our film industry.